In the headlines, mandatory drug tests for students and political office seekers in Adamawa. Lagos BRT driver remanded in custody for 30 days. APC crisis deepens, party insists NEC meeting to hold next week. And on the foreign scene, UN's World Food Programme says South Sudan to face its worst hunger crisis. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. Adamawa State House of Assembly is considering a piece of legislation that will subject all job seekers, applicants for political offices and students seeking admission into tertiary institutions of the state to undergo mandatory drug tests. Deputy Speaker of the State House of Assembly at the opening of the public hearing on the draft legislation said the imperative of controlling the adverse effects of drugs and other illicit substance abuse on the society informed the consideration for a legislative backing to strengthen the fight against drug abuse. The report.
Gathered here at this committee room in the Adamawa State House of Assembly complex are persons and agents of the state in the front lines of the anti-drug campaign to consider a piece of legislation some of those present here say is the game changer in the anti-drug war. This draft bill for a law to provide for mandatory drug and other illicit substance testing for applicants for appointment, employment, and admission into state public and educational institutions, and to provide for other matters incidental thereto at its formative stages will make it mandatory for drug tests to be conducted for all job seekers, applicants for political appointment, and students seeking admissions into any tertiary institutions of learning in Adamawa State.
The problem is not only limited to our schools. What is happening in our government institution is better imagined than real. Drugs and illicit substance abuse has become a fashion amongst public and civil servants. The bill is therefore a deliberate effort by the sponsor and the honorable members to curtail the trend by nipping the problem in bud through legislation. We acknowledge therefore the National Drugs Enforcement Agency in fight against drugs abuse, but it's our conviction that the fight is for everybody. Hence, this bill. I therefore urge you to be frank, meticulous, and free in your submissions.
Drugs and some illicit drugs is a problem to our own community, our society in general. So we believe maybe by enacting this law, we'll reduce some crime in our society. Robbing, kidnapping, roaming about, school dropout and all that thing. It will reduce for our own understanding. Because once you have this, we have this law, one, before you be employed, you must be tested. If you are sure you are a student, you are schooling, you will be afraid to take drugs because you know once you finish this school, you need employment. If you want to be employed, if they tested you positive, maybe you cannot get it.
An abuse of drugs, I think, is the major problem in the whole world now, not even Nigeria or Adamawa, the whole world as a whole. And the control of drugs is paramount. It's very important because there is a saying that youth are the leaders tomorrow. But with this development of drug abuse, the chances of them to be leaders tomorrow is blinking.
Meanwhile, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted 3 million capsules of opioids at Jalith Bonded Container Terminal under Tinkan Island Seaport area, Abuja, in Lagos. In a statement issued by Director, Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, the seizure of 3 million capsules of tapentadol and carisomoprodol weighing 1,500 kilograms on Monday, 7th March 2022, followed a similar operation in which anti-narcotic officers of the agency also intercepted 8,613 kilograms of loud cannabis, smuggled in from Ghana through the waterways at the Eco-Atlantic Beach in Victoria Island of Lagos State. According to Babafemi, the seized drugs at the bonded terminal were discovered during a joint examination of a 20-foot container with men of the Nigeria Customs Service. He added that though the consignment was said to have originated from Ningbo province in China and falsely labeled as containing 271 packages of insulating fittings, faucet water closet and industrial office printing machine, investigations revealed that information on the bill of lading and shipping documents were fake. Some drivers and their assistants who were on ground to load the shipment into their vehicles were promptly arrested, while 2 trucks, a Sienna Space Bus, a Peugeot Boxer bus and a Toyota Camry car were seized from them. Ayaba Chief Magistrate Court on Friday remanded bus rapid transport driver Andrew Nice for 30 days over his alleged involvement in the death of his passenger Oluwabamiche Ayangwole. The court made the order following an application by the police. Police counsel Yetunde Cardozo, who filed the application based on a 4-count charge of alleged murder, sexual assault, misconduct and interference with a corpse. Last Monday, Bamiche, 22 years old, was found dead on Carter Bridge, Lagos Island, 9 days after being declared missing after she boarded the BRT bus.
Monday, the 6th of March, like I said earlier, we got the message on Sunday. A family meeting was going on when we got the message, so we had to rush down to a meeting, like I said earlier, to do a confirmation. And on getting there, we were told that she was dropped by the bridge. We call it Ogogoro community. That was where she was dropped. And according to what we have, we were told that she was dropped on the 26th. And the police found out around past 10 p.m. But the body was conveyed to the morgue on the 27th.
People living with disabilities, extremely poor families and other vulnerable groups, as well as women and children, will soon have a cause to smile in Katsina State. This is if the State Development Plan is implemented to guide political actors to improve the quality of lives of the ordinary people of the state. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
The State Development Plan, which is a process that kick-started since 2020, is at its final stage of completion with the review and validation of the document this Thursday in Katsina. Similarly, the plan will, among other things, address the issue of exclusion in governance and other economic and social sectors to provide equal opportunities for people living with disabilities, remove the economic barriers existing between the rich and the poor, and address inequality. And the plan will definitely go a long way in ensuring sustainable development in the state. Particularly, it's trying to look at 4 critical areas of the state, which is looking at the governing structures, looking at human development, looking at environmental development, and of course human capital development. I think I've mentioned that. So we hope at the end of the day this plan will serve the people of Katsina. It will help the state to think around deep potentials that they have. Other issues the development plan intends to achieve is to reduce maternal mortality, effect of child killer diseases, mitigate climate change, water supply and other critical sectors of human endeavor. This plan is going to go deep to look at those people that are extremely poor and vulnerable, and particularly women and children. So the plan is designed in a way to look at whether the exclusion issues in the state, why do we have some of the poverty issues, why are women excluded in certain areas, even in governance. So it has a very deep understanding of different issues. The document is also expected to be a human rights-based risk-informed development plan consistent with the Economic Recovery Growth Vision 2030. According to some critical stakeholders,
The plan will ensure coherent design of public policy and implementation for equitable socio-economic and sustainable development. Katsina State, which has a population of 10 million people in 2020, mostly in rural areas, are expected to be captured in all the economic plans and future budgets by activating health services, the economy, and social protection sectors.
Local governments in every sector have a vital role to play. They are very strategic because virtually all the population of not only Katsina State but of Nigeria resides in one local government or the other, and so their position is very vital and very key. Looking at the content of the development plan, one will see that this is going to be a major overhaul of the socio-economic well-being of the people of Katsina State.
When fully implemented, the state development plan will also check the rural-urban drift and the issue bordering on almajiris as well as street begging, among others.
I wish to assure the teeming good people of Katsina State that this development plan is going to be of immense importance to them, because it is primarily designed to cater for the well-being of the less privileged and the vulnerable people of the society.
It could be recalled that Katsina State government, with the support of UNICEF, launched the process, inaugurated a steering committee and technical working group for the production of the state development plan document in December 2020. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now to politics, where the All Progressives Congress, APC, has dismissed a letter written to it by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the need to give the Commission a 21-day notice for its national convention slated for March 26th. Spokesman of the party's caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Ismaila Ahmed, stated this at a news conference on Friday in Abuja. He said the party had earlier intimated the Commission of its intent to conduct its national convention on February 26th, and that what is required now is for the new date of March 26th is simply a notice of an adjustment and not a fresh 21-day notice. Earlier, INEC rejected a letter inviting it to an emergency meeting of the National Executive Committee of the ruling party, where Bello's chairmanship, among other things, is to be ratified. The Commission said the letter is not signed by Buni and the National Secretary, contrary to the provision of Article 1.1.3 of the Commission's Regulations and Guidelines for Political Party Operations 2018. And Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has handed the staff of office to Oba Lekon Balogun as the 42nd Olubadan of Ibadan. The governor handed the staff of office to the 42nd Olubadan on Friday during the new monarch's coronation ceremony held in Ibadan, Oyo State. The Vice President, Yemi Oshibanjo, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, governors, traditional rulers, and diplomats graced the event. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, bread and noodles may be out of reach. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Now look at our top stories. Adamawa State House of Assembly is considering a piece of legislation that will subject all job seekers, applicants for political appointment and students seeking admission into tertiary institutions in the state to undergo mandatory drug test. And the Yaba Chief Magistrate Court on Friday remanded a BRT driver, Andrew Nice, for 30 days over his alleged involvement in the death of his passenger, Oluwabamiche Ayanwole. Now moving on to other stories. The fifth batch carrying 123 Nigerian evacuees from Ukraine arrived early Friday at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The Nigerians airlifted from Poland arrived on a plane owned by Air Peace, one of the airlines built to airlift Nigerians returning from Ukraine. According to the Nigerians Diaspora Commission, the evacuees got free SIM cards loaded with airtime to allow them reach their family members, as well as received $100 for transportation as other batches that arrived before them. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement said another batch is expected to arrive Nigeria from Hungary on Saturday. The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war in faraway Europe is taking its toll on non-combatants in Gombe State, northeast Nigeria, as people now pay more for bread and noodles common on family menus. Russia and Ukraine account for 25% of wheat production globally. Bakers say disruption in supply of wheat is responsible for the hike in prices. The report.
Bread is one of the most consumed food in Nigeria, and one of its ingredients is flour, which is being produced from wheat. Bakers said they are now battling hiking prices of flour, which is affecting their businesses. With the current crisis between Russia and Ukraine, analysts predicted more increase in prices of bread and noodles. Bread bakers are likely to pay more for raw materials.
And the price of flour has increased, let's say at least with 2 to 5% as we used to buy it before, and the price of sugar also increased with 2 to 3% as the price we used to buy the sugar before. And also the rest of the commodity, they have changed their prices, but yet now we are not changing we did not change our price for that we used to sell our bread.
Tea and bread vendors, popularly known as Meshayi, are now paying more for bread and noodles. Some of them said a bread costing 300 naira before now sells 400 naira. We used to buy a sachet of noodles at 100 naira and sell 120, but now we buy it at 120 and sell 170 naira. They normally supply bread costing 200 naira, and now they supply those costing 150 and that of 300 naira. The difference in price has affected our business. We aren't making profit like before. A consumer also shared his experience. Bread is expensive, and it is not from the vendors. It is the hike in price of flour. A bread that cost 100 naira before is now 200, and that of 200 is now 350 naira. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, Russia and Ukraine account for 23% of the global wheat market, worth 206.9 million metric tons in 2021.
And when the price of flour in market change, we must increase our prices of bread, due to the fact that when we buy flour, now we are using Mama Gold in our production. Before we are buying Mama Gold as 21,000, and now we are buying Mama Gold as 22,500 naira. But when the crisis continue, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, but Mama Gold flour will reach at least not less than 23,000, and all the rest of the flour like IRS, we used to buy IRS at the rate of 20,000, 19,500 naira, 20,000, but now we used to buy IRS at the rate of 21,500 naira.
Prices of noodles, spaghetti and bread are expected to record increase as the war between Ukraine and Russia continues. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
And the Russia-Ukraine crisis may have immediate adverse effects on the two countries. But nations relying on some supplies from the two crisis countries may also suffer. Russia is a major exporter of wheat in the world, and Nigeria's love for bread knows no bounds. Abubakar Abdullahi speaks with some bakery managers and tea vendors in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, on the implications of the war for bread and noodle consumers. His report.
Russia continued invasion of Ukraine. People across the globe are lamenting on the effect of the two European nations' crisis. Like other parts of the world, in Nigeria, consumption of flour products is high. Russia is cultivating large quantity of wheat in the world for the production of flour, and there is likelihood that if the world community fail to find lasting solution to the crisis, it may negatively affect consumers of flour products such as bread and noodles. Managers of some bakeries who spoke with Trust TV expressed fear that even before the commencement of the war, the price of flour is high, and allowing the war without solution will worsen the situation.
We are buying flour 20,200, but now as I speak to you, flour has added another 1,000 something. That means we are buying 21,300 or thereabouts. Depends the product of that flour. Everything has highly skyrocketed already. As I mentioned earlier, flour has shoot up to 1,000 something, close to 2,000 naira addition. Yeast has shoot up to, they made increment of yeast up to 1,000 something. Dynamil we use has increased up to 1,000 something. Everybody knew that Russians and Ukrainians are the suppliers of grains in the whole world. They are the major suppliers of grains and gas in the whole world. As long as these two countries are in conflict, is going to affect every commodities in Nigeria. The
price of flour varies from 22,000 naira to 22,500 naira and 21,500, depending on the company. Prices of everything are skyrocketing. Getting the flour is difficult. We have to book. Tea vendors on their part says the brunt of any negative consequences will mostly affect them, as they are the ones dealing with end users of the product.
Actually, the prices of noodle and flour have rapidly increased due to conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It has actually affected our capital inflow, as well as our working capital as well. This is an external factor. It's something that I have no control over it. Actually, I have no control over it. Remember that Ukraine and Russia are the major suppliers of wheat. Wheat are some of the raw material used in producing flour, which are also used to convert it and make bread. So actually, when if this conflict continues, actually it will affect us, and we have no control over it.
Authorities should intervene in order to see the end of this crisis. They all call on the world community to join hands in finding lasting solutions to the Russia invasion of Ukraine.
So let the whole world join hands together to make peace, to create peace, to do whatever thing that is available, to use any other means available to make peace between these two countries, so that it will not result to third war.
Ya kamata a ce kasashen duniya manya-manya ya kamata a ce sun hankalta, sun lura cewa bai kamata a ce su bari suna wannan faɗan ba, saboda abu ne wanda zai iya shafa al'umma, kuma abu in ya kasance cewa ana amfani da shi ba ruwa ne da musulmi ko kirista, ya haɗe kowa da kowa ne, ko da ko baka da addini. don haka ya kamata a ce kasashen duniya sun tsaya sun yi nazari, sun yi tunanin cewa ya kamata a tsayar da wannan faɗan, ko ba komai su al'ummar Ukraine suna cikin wata matsala saboda su
have to come together, have to come have to be on a round table in order to look at the both sides and drop their arms, so that at least the common man, especially Nigerian, they are relying solely on the raw materials from Ukraine.
Ya kamata hukumomi su tahi tsaye su sa baki don a kawo ƙarshen wannan rikici.
Abubakar Abdullahi, Trust TV News, Lafia.
Now look at the foreign scene, where UN's World Food Programme, WFP, warns Friday that more than 70% of South Sudan's population will face extreme hunger this year as conflict and climate-related disasters deepen food scarcity. The WFP in a statement said while global attention remains fixated on Ukraine, a hidden hunger emergency is engulfing South Sudan, with about 8.3 million people in South Sudan, including refugees, facing extreme hunger in the coming months. The agency noted that with climate disasters and violence forcing tens of thousands of people to flee their homes and abandon their livelihoods, many South Sudanese have already been pushed to the brink and could starve without food assistance. Since gaining independence from Sudan in 2011, the world's newest nation has been in the throes of economic and political crisis and is struggling to recover from a 5-year civil war that left nearly 400,000 people dead. And now to sports news, where organizers of the Ballon d'Or Award, France Football, have announced that the 2022 edition of the award ceremony will take place in October. According to a tweet by the organizers, this is a break from the November and December period, which they usually hold the ceremony. They also announced a shift from the January to December calendar, a period during which the performance of footballers is viewed to determine nominees. According to them, the award will now be issued on the basis of performance of players during the classic football season, which is from August to July, adding that the Qatar World Cup will count for the 2023 award. They also announced a change to the process of selecting Ballon d'Or jury members. Recall that Paris Saint-Germain and Argentina international player Lionel Messi won the 2021 men's edition of the award, while Alexia Putellas of Barcelona won the women's edition. And PSG and Italian international goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma won the Yashin Trophy in 2021. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.